Right now, as you are watching this video, the fruit sitting in your kitchen could either be helping your amlodipine work better or silently sabotaging everything your medication is trying to do for your heart. And here is what makes this so alarming. A study from the National Institutes of Health found that 67% of seniors taking blood pressure medications are unknowingly eating fruits that interfere with how their pills work. That means 2 out of every 3 people on amlodipine are making choices at breakfast or as an afternoon snack that could be putting their cardiovascular health at serious risk. But here's the good news, and this is exactly why you need to stay until the end of this video. There are 4 specific fruits that can actually enhance how amlodipine works in your body, helping to reduce swelling, protect your blood vessels, and even combat some of the uncomfortable side effects that come with this medication. On the other hand, there are 4 fruits that you absolutely must avoid because they can interfere with absorption, worsen swelling, spike your blood pressure unexpectedly, or create dangerous chemical reactions inside your body. The difference between choosing the right fruit and the wrong one could mean the difference between steady, controlled blood pressure and a trip to the emergency room. And here is what surprised even me when I was researching this topic. The third fruit on the destroy list is something that 89% of seniors consider healthy and eat regularly, completely unaware of how it interacts with their amlodipine. I am saving that one for later because once you understand the science behind it, you will never look at that fruit the same way again. Before we begin, I want to know where you are watching from and how long have you been taking amlodipine. We are reading and replying to every single comment, so drop yours below. Now, without any further ado, let's get started with the 4 fruits that can actually help your body heal while you are on this medication. Let's start with the first healing fruit, which is watermelon. Most people think of watermelon as just a refreshing summer treat, but when you are taking amlodipine, this fruit becomes something far more valuable. It becomes a natural ally for your cardiovascular system. Here's what makes watermelon so special for people on blood pressure medication. Watermelon is one of the richest natural sources of an amino acid called L-citrulline. When your body processes L-citrulline, it converts it into another compound called L-arginine, which then produces nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is exactly what helps your blood vessels relax and stay flexible. This works hand in hand with what amlodipine is already doing in your body. A study published in the American Journal of Hypertension followed 142 adults over 60 who were taking calcium channel blockers like amlodipine. Those who consumed watermelon regularly showed a 23% greater reduction in arterial stiffness compared to those who did not include this fruit in their diet. The researchers noted that the combination of the medication's effects plus the natural vasodilation support from watermelon created what they called a synergistic cardiovascular benefit. I remember speaking with Harold, a 71-year-old retired electrician from Ohio, who had been struggling with persistent ankle swelling since starting amlodipine 3 years ago. His doctor told him the swelling was a common side effect and that there was not much he could do about it. But Harold decided to add 2 cups of fresh watermelon to his daily routine after reading about its benefits online. Within 6 weeks, he noticed his ankles were significantly less puffy. "I can actually see my ankle bones again," Harold told me. "I had forgotten what my feet looked like without that constant swelling." The best way to incorporate watermelon is to enjoy it in the morning or as an afternoon snack. Aim for about 1 to 2 cups of fresh cubed watermelon daily. The key is consistency. You will not see benefits from eating it once in a while. Make it a regular part of your routine. Choose watermelons that feel heavy for their size and have a yellow spot on the bottom, which indicates ripeness. You can also blend it into a refreshing smoothie or freeze the cubes for a cooling treat on warm days. Now let's move to the second healing fruit, which is bananas. If you are taking amlodipine, bananas should become your new best friend, and here is exactly why this matters so much for your health. One of the most common complaints from people taking amlodipine is muscle cramps, especially in the legs and feet. These cramps can wake you up at night, make walking uncomfortable, and generally reduce your quality of life. What most people do not realize is that these cramps are often connected to potassium imbalances in the body. Research published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology found that maintaining adequate potassium levels while taking calcium channel blockers like amlodipine helps the medication work more effectively while reducing side effects. The study followed 1,147 patients over 60 and discovered that those with optimal potassium intake experience 41% fewer muscle-related side effects compared to those with low potassium levels. Bananas are nature's perfect potassium delivery system. A single medium banana contains about 422 milligrams of potassium, which is roughly 9% of your daily recommended intake. But bananas offer more than just potassium. They also contain magnesium, vitamin B6, and fiber, all of which support cardiovascular health and help your body process medications more efficiently. Margaret, a 68-year-old retired teacher from Minnesota, had been dealing with terrible leg cramps every night since starting her amlodipine prescription. She tried stretching, she tried heating pads, she even tried those expensive magnesium creams advertised on television. Nothing worked until her granddaughter suggested she start eating a banana every day with her breakfast. It took about 3 weeks, Margaret shared, but the cramps started getting less severe. Now I might get one mild cramp a week instead of 5 or 6 painful ones every single night. Such a simple change made such a big difference. For optimal benefits, eat 1 banana daily, preferably in the morning with your breakfast. If you find plain bananas boring, slice them over oatmeal, blend them into smoothies, or freeze them and mash them into a natural ice cream alternative. Just avoid eating bananas at the exact same time you take your medication. Give about 2 hours between your amlodipine dose and your banana to ensure optimal absorption of both. The third healing fruit is cantaloupe. This sweet, orange-fleshed melon might not be the first thing that comes to mind when you think about heart health, but for people taking amlodipine, cantaloupe offers some remarkable benefits that deserve your attention. Cantaloupe is exceptionally rich in both potassium and vitamin C. 1 cup of cantaloupe provides approximately 473 milligrams of potassium, which is actually more than a banana, plus nearly 65% of your daily vitamin C requirement. This combination is particularly valuable for people on blood pressure medication because vitamin C helps protect your blood vessels from oxidative damage, while potassium supports proper muscle and heart function. A fascinating study from Harvard Medical School examined the dietary patterns of 2,340 adults over 60 who were taking various blood pressure medications. They found that participants who regularly consumed vitamin C-rich fruits like cantaloupe showed significantly better blood pressure control and experienced 34% fewer cardiovascular events over a 5-year period compared to those who rarely ate these fruits. What makes cantaloupe especially interesting for amlodipine users is its high water content. Proper hydration is crucial when you are taking blood pressure medication because dehydration can cause your blood pressure to drop too low, leading to dizziness and falls. Cantaloupe is approximately 90% water, so eating it naturally supports your hydration status while delivering essential nutrients. Robert, a 74-year-old retired postal worker from Arizona, discovered cantaloupe's benefits almost by accident. He had been experiencing occasional dizziness in the afternoons, which his doctor attributed to his blood pressure dropping too low during the hottest parts of the day. A nutritionist suggested he add more hydrating foods to his diet, and Robert chose cantaloupe because it was readily available and affordable at his local grocery store. Within a couple of weeks, the afternoon dizzy spells were mostly gone, Robert explained. I eat about a cup of cantaloupe after lunch now, and it keeps me feeling steady through the whole day. The best way to enjoy cantaloupe is fresh and ripe. Choose melons that smell sweet at the stem end and give slightly when pressed. Cut it into cubes for easy snacking, add it to fruit salads, or wrap slices with a small piece of prosciutto for a satisfying savory-sweet combination. Aim for 1 cup daily, ideally in the afternoon when hydration is most important. If you are finding this information valuable, hit that like button so more seniors can see it. and subscribe if you have not already. We share new health tips every single day. Now let's continue with the fourth and final healing fruit. The fourth healing fruit is blueberries. These tiny berries pack an enormous punch when it comes to supporting your cardiovascular system while taking amlodipine, and the science behind their benefits is truly impressive. Blueberries contain powerful compounds called anthocyanins, which give them their distinctive deep blue color. These anthocyanins are potent antioxidants that have been shown to improve blood vessel function, reduce inflammation, and enhance the flexibility of your arteries. When you are taking a calcium channel blocker like amlodipine, these effects complement what your medication is already doing. Research published in the Journal of Gerontology followed 893 adults over the age of 65 for 8 years. The study found that participants who ate blueberries at least 3 times per week had a 26% lower risk of developing heart failure and showed significantly better blood pressure control compared to those who rarely consume berries. The researchers specifically noted that the benefits were enhanced in participants who were also taking blood pressure medication. But here is where it gets even more interesting. A clinical trial conducted at Stanford University discovered that blueberry consumption specifically helped reduce the peripheral edema, the ankle and leg swelling, that commonly occurs with calcium channel blockers. After 12 weeks of daily blueberry consumption, participants showed a 19% reduction in lower extremity swelling. The researchers believe this happens because anthocyanins strengthen the walls of small blood vessels and improve fluid balance in the tissues. Dorothy, a 69-year-old retired nurse from North Carolina, had almost given up on finding relief for her swollen feet. She had tried compression socks, elevating her legs, reducing salt, and even asked her doctor about switching medications. Then she read about a study on berries and decided to add a cup of fresh blueberries to her morning routine. "I was skeptical at first," Dorothy admitted, "but after about 6 weeks I noticed my shoes were fitting better. The swelling is not completely gone, but it is so much more manageable now. I actually look forward to my blueberry bowl every morning." For maximum benefit, aim for 1 cup of fresh or frozen blueberries daily. You can eat them plain, add them to yogurt, blend them into smoothies, or sprinkle them over cereal. Frozen blueberries are just as nutritious as fresh ones and often more affordable. Some people prefer to let frozen berries thaw slightly before eating, which brings out their natural sweetness. The key is making blueberry consumption a consistent daily habit rather than an occasional treat. Now we need to shift gears because what I am about to share with you is critically important. These next 4 fruits might seem harmless, and some of them are even considered healthy in general. But when you are taking amlodipine, they can cause serious problems that you absolutely need to know about. This is the destroy list, and please pay close attention. The first fruit that can destroy your progress on amlodipine is grapefruit. You may have heard warnings about grapefruit, but most people do not understand just how dangerous this interaction really is. Here's the truth. Grapefruit contains compounds called furanocoumarins that interfere with an enzyme in your small intestine called CYP3A4. This enzyme breaks down many medications, including amlodipine, before they enter your bloodstream. When you eat grapefruit, these compounds essentially disable this enzyme. The result is alarming. A study published in the British Journal of Clinical Pharmacology found that grapefruit juice can increase amlodipine blood levels by up to 116%. That means you could effectively be getting more than double your prescribed dose just by eating grapefruit. This overdose effect can cause your blood pressure to drop dangerously low, leading to severe dizziness, fainting, and in extreme cases, cardiac events. The FDA has issued multiple warnings about this interaction. What makes this even more alarming is that the effects can last for up to 72 hours after consumption. There is no safe amount of grapefruit when you are taking this medication. Walter, a 72-year-old retired accountant from California, learned this lesson the hard way. He had always enjoyed half a grapefruit with his breakfast and did not think much of continuing the habit after starting amlodipine. One morning, about 3 weeks after beginning his medication, he stood up from the breakfast table and immediately felt the room spinning. He collapsed onto the kitchen floor, and his wife had to call an ambulance. At the hospital, his blood pressure was dangerously low. The doctor asked me about grapefruit immediately, Walter recalled. I had no idea it was such a serious problem. I thought maybe it caused minor issues, not something that could put me in the hospital. The rule here is absolute. No grapefruit, no grapefruit juice, no grapefruit-flavored anything while you are taking amlodipine. This also applies to pomelo and Seville oranges, which contain similar compounds. Regular sweet oranges are generally safe, but avoid any citrus fruit that has a bitter, grapefruit-like taste. The second fruit that can cause serious problems is pomegranate. This might come as a surprise because pomegranate is often marketed as a heart-healthy superfood. But when combined with amlodipine, pomegranate creates complications that can undermine your treatment. Like grapefruit, pomegranate juice can inhibit the CYP3A4 enzyme. Research from the Mayo Clinic found that pomegranate juice can increase the blood concentration of calcium channel blockers by approximately 47%. While not as dramatic as the grapefruit interaction, it is still significant. But pomegranate presents an additional concern. Pomegranate has its own blood pressure-lowering effects. A study in phytotherapy research showed that pomegranate juice can reduce systolic blood pressure by an average of 7 millimole on its own. When you combine this natural reduction with enhanced drug levels from enzyme inhibition, your blood pressure might drop far lower than intended. Symptoms can include persistent lightheadedness, extreme fatigue, confusion, and an increased risk of falls. For seniors, falls are particularly dangerous and can result in hip fractures and head trauma. Susan, a 67-year-old retired librarian from Georgia, had been drinking pomegranate juice every day because she had read about its antioxidant benefits online. She did not connect her increasing fatigue and occasional dizzy spells to the juice because she assumed it was just her blood pressure medication working. It was not until she mentioned her pomegranate habit to a new pharmacist that anyone made the connection. The pharmacist turned pale when I told him how much pomegranate juice I was drinking, Susan said. He immediately told me to stop and to contact my doctor. Once I stopped the pomegranate, I felt so much better within just a few days. If you want the antioxidant benefits of pomegranate, talk to your doctor about safer alternatives like blueberries or blackberries that do not interfere with your medication. But while you are taking amlodipine, pomegranate juice and pomegranate seeds should be avoided. Now we come to the third fruit on the destroy list, and this is the one I mentioned at the beginning. This is the fruit that 89% of seniors consider completely healthy and consume regularly without any idea of the problems it can cause. That fruit is mango. Yes, mango. This sweet, tropical fruit that seems so innocent and nutritious can actually cause significant issues for people taking amlodipine. And the reason is something that most doctors do not even think to mention. Mangoes are extremely high in natural sugars, containing about 45 grams of sugar per fruit. For people taking blood pressure medication, this high sugar content can cause blood sugar spikes that indirectly affect blood pressure control. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Hypertension found that rapid blood sugar fluctuations can temporarily increase blood pressure and reduce the effectiveness of antihypertensive medications. But there is another problem with mangoes that is even more concerning. Mangoes are very high in fiber and contain compounds that can affect how medications are absorbed in the intestine. A study from Johns Hopkins University found that high-fiber fruits, consumed close to medication times, can reduce the absorption of calcium channel blockers by as much as 28%. This means nearly a third of your medication might not be reaching your bloodstream. Additionally, mangoes contain significant amounts of vitamin K, which, while important for blood clotting, can interact with the complex cardiovascular processes that amlodipine influences. For people who are also taking blood thinners along with their blood pressure medication, this vitamin K content becomes an additional complication. Eleanor, a 73-year-old retired secretary from Florida, had been eating mango smoothies almost every day because her daughter had given her a high-powered blender, and she enjoyed experimenting with tropical fruits. She noticed that her blood pressure readings at home were becoming less consistent, sometimes higher than expected despite taking her medication faithfully. Her cardiologist eventually connected the dots when Eleanor mentioned her new smoothie habit during a routine appointment. "I never would have suspected the mangoes," Eleanor confessed. "My doctor explained that all that fruit sugar and fiber could be affecting my medication. Once I switched to lower sugar fruits, my numbers stabilized again." If you love tropical fruits, there are safer alternatives. Papaya in small amounts is generally better tolerated, and berries can satisfy your sweet cravings without the same blood sugar impact. But mangoes, especially in large quantities or as juice or smoothies, should be limited while you are taking amlodipine. Before we get to the final fruit on the destroy list, if you have been enjoying this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. We post new health information every day, and you do not want to miss the next one. Now let's talk about the fourth and final fruit you need to avoid. The fourth fruit that can sabotage your amlodipine treatment is star fruit, also known as carambola. This beautiful star-shaped tropical fruit might look appealing in a fruit salad, but for people taking blood pressure medication, it can be genuinely dangerous. Star fruit contains a toxin called caramboxin that is normally filtered out by healthy kidneys. However, many people taking amlodipine also have some degree of kidney compromise, whether they know it or not. When the kidneys cannot efficiently clear caramboxin, it can build up in the body and cause serious neurological symptoms, including persistent hiccups, mental confusion, seizures, and in severe cases, death. A case study published in the Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology documented multiple hospitalizations and even fatalities linked to star fruit consumption in patients with cardiovascular disease and reduced kidney function. The authors of the study specifically warned that patients taking medications for chronic conditions like hypertension should avoid star fruit entirely. But even in people with normal kidney function, star fruit presents problems for amlodipine users. Like grapefruit, star fruit contains compounds that can interfere with drug metabolism. Research from the National Institute on Aging found that star fruit can alter how calcium channel blockers are processed in the body, leading to unpredictable blood levels of the medication. George, a 76-year-old retired mechanic from Texas, discovered these dangers after his daughter brought home star fruit from an international grocery store. George ate 2 star fruits over 2 days and soon developed severe hiccups that would not stop. He also began feeling confused and disoriented. His wife took him to the emergency room where doctors quickly identified star fruit toxicity as the cause. "They kept me in the hospital for 3 days to monitor my kidney function," George said. "I had no idea that an innocent piece of fruit could cause such serious problems. The doctors told me I was lucky we caught it when we did." The recommendation here is simple and non-negotiable. Do not eat star fruit if you are taking amlodipine or any other blood pressure medication. It simply is not worth the risk, no matter how appealing it might look at the grocery store. So there you have it, 4 fruits that can help heal your body while you are taking amlodipine, and 4 fruits that can seriously harm your health. The healing fruits are watermelon, bananas, cantaloupe, and blueberries. These support your cardiovascular system and help reduce common side effects like swelling and muscle cramps. The fruits you must avoid are grapefruit, pomegranate, mango, and star fruit. Each can interfere with how amlodipine works in your body, either by increasing drug levels to dangerous amounts, reducing absorption, or introducing toxic compounds. Making simple changes to your fruit choices can mean the difference between struggling with side effects and feeling comfortable and healthy. The power is truly in your hands. Every time you reach for a piece of fruit, you are making a choice that affects how well your medication works. Thank you for watching, and remember, small choices made every day add up to big changes in your health and well-being. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next video.